Today we start one of your favorite books. It's Favorite Animal Stories. And the story for today, it's The Bear Who Wouldn't Share. Blake was a little bear who had one big problem: sharing. One Sunday he was out in the woods playing on his scooter. It had a lime green frame and super fast wheels. Screech! Blake stopped at the oak tree where his sister Bella was waiting. Bella looked longingly at the scooter. "Can I have a go?" she asked. But Blake just wouldn't share. "No, it's mine," he said. Bella reached out and put her paws on the handlebars. "Please, please," she said. Blake pulled the scooter off his sister, but he jerked a bit too hard and she fell backwards right on her bottom. "Ouch," said Bella, and her little brown nose went sniffle sniffle as she started to cry. Blake looked at his sobbing sister and felt a tiny bit mean. Worse, he knew he had to take her home where he would get told off, and even worse, now he had to stop playing on his scooter. The next morning, Blake was woken up early by Daddy Bear. "Wakey, wakey, Blake. You are going to Milo's house today, remember? So go and wash your face and paws. We are leaving very soon." Milo the mole was Blake's best friend, and he just loved to visit Milo in his mole hill with its maze of dark, echoey tunnels. When Blake arrived at Milo's, the two friends played their favorite game, hide and seek. After they'd been playing for a while, they heard Mummy Mole calling from the next tunnel. "Boys, come into the kitchen. I've got a surprise for you." Yum! Mummy Mole had baked them some cookies, lovely gooey cookies with chocolate chips. Blake's mouth started to water, his tummy rumbled, and as soon as Mummy Mole's back has turned, he dived straight in and gobbled up all the cookies before his friend could get his paws on them. Scoff, 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 scoff. He finished them all. "Hey," said Milo, "I'd like one too." Mummy Mole saw what had happened and said, "Oh dear Blake, those cookies were for both of you to share." Blake looked at his friend and felt a tiny bit mean. Worse, Milo didn't want to play with him anymore. And even worse, Blake's tummy started to hurt. So Mummy Mole asked Daddy Bear to come and pick him up early. Blake went home feeling really quite sorry for himself. The next morning, Blake was still feeling sad about his fallout with Milo. He decided to cheer himself up by playing in the park with his kite. "Oh, that looks like fun," said a voice. It was Blake's friend, Owen the owl, who was perched in a nearby apple tree. "Can I play with your kite too, please?" he asked. "No," said Blake. "I'm playing with it." "Won't you share it with me?" said Owen. "We will play with it together. It will be so much fun." Blake paused. He thought perhaps he should share with his friend, but he wanted to fly the kite himself. "No," Blake said again as he raced off. Blake ran across the park holding his brightly colored kite out behind him, trying to get it to fly. But no matter how fast he sprinted, the kite dragged along the grass. Then the wind started to blow harder against Blake's fur, so he started to run again, holding the kite up until whoosh! The kite soared up in the air. Look, look, it's flying, Blake called to Owen, but his friend had already flown back home. The kite flew so fast that Blake couldn't control it. Whoosh! 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 It looped madly in the air and then flew straight into the apple tree. Blake looked at the kite and he felt awful. He felt bad that he hadn't shared it with Owen. Worse, he'd upset his friend so much that he'd gone home. And even worse, his kite was now stuck and he couldn't get it down without Owen's help. Blake plodded slowly and sadly home without his kite. The next day, Blake went back to the park. He took his new bat and ball set with which his mommy and daddy had bought him. He was ever so excited about showing it off to his friends. Blake spotted Mila, Owen, and Bella playing with the lily pond. Look at my new bat and ball set. Let's all play with it, he called, running over. Everyone turned to face him. They were all quiet until Owen said, No, we're sorry, Blake. You wouldn't share with us before, so we don't want to play with you now. Suddenly, Blake realized that Owen was right. He'd upset his friends and they might never forgive him. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I wouldn't share with you. I really am, said Blake in a quiet voice. But I'll start sharing from now on. I promise. Please, can we all play together? Because they were kind, Mila, Owen, and Bella decided to forgive Blake. They all played together with Blake's new toy and had a lovely time hitting, running, and catching. As they had been playing for a while, Blake began to feel a little hungry. So he took out a chocolate bar he'd brought with him, a lovely white chocolate bar with chunks of cookie inside. Yum, thought Blake as his tummy started to rumble. But as he lifted the chocolate bar to his mouth, he remembered that he had promised about sharing. Blake really wanted the chocolate bar all to himself. It was his favorite, and not really a big one for 4 people. But a promise was a promise, and so he broke his chocolate bar into 4 equal pieces, 1 for Bella, 1 for Owen, 1 for Mila, and 1 for himself. Thanks, Blake, said Mila, and offered around slices of his apple. Look, what my daddy baked, said Owen, rushing off to his rucksack and pulling out some cherry cake. Before long, they had a whole picnic made of everyone's snacks. Blake munched away until he was full and then lay down happily on the grass. He thought he rather liked sharing after all. Do you think that sharing is very good for everyone? Thank you for listening, boys. Пока-пока.